Welcome back to Fashion is Art with me. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we'll get right into it. So today we're going to talk about LeRoy Neiman. He is widely regarded as the most popular sports events artist, screen printer, and abstract expressionist. And in this Why I Love episode, we're going to be breaking down kind of like how his rise came to be, as well as how some celebrities compare in the work that they're doing today that he was doing back then in the 1950s. So to get us started, he was born in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, where he began his rise. He took a lot of painting, drawing classes, went to a school in Chicago, then the Institute of Art in Chicago, I believe it's what it was called, and even started teaching after that. He taught fashion as well as painting. So once he took that rise later on in his career, he started doing independent work, always did a lot of sports themed work, and eventually met a copywriter by the name of Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner at this time, he was not the Hugh Hefner that we know of now with Playboy, but he was getting ready to launch that magazine off, and LeRoy was the perfect person to help him out with this. He would start designing screen prints for him that he could use in Playboy, and the most popular one that got them both to great trajectories in their careers was the Femlin. Now, the Femlin, as you can see, it's not as risque or suggestive as what you would expect Playboy to have, because it's more of a cartoon. And that's what made it perfect to break through into the mainstream, because it wasn't so triggered, especially at that time back in the 1950s. I mean, you could get away with a lot more than you could now. Actually, no, I take that back. You can get away with a lot more now than you could back then. So him having that there was the perfect thing to help them break into more of a mainstream light and increase the magazine's popularity. So through that time, as they got more and more popular, Hugh Hefner again became the man behind Playboy. LeRoy moved into his own studio and started forging a lot of friendships with really talented sports figures, most namely his relationship with Muhammad Ali. You know, he would do works with people like Muhammad Ali, Joe Namath. And what I really liked about this was he took advantage of those connections he had and built a brand for himself. He wasn't doing work with people that were irrelevant, that you wouldn't really care about. Instead, he took it to this popular sports culture and created all these artists as they came up, which I think to this day is still a pretty smart idea when it came down to it. Really got his name out there, really set him as separate, you know, catching sports events like and popular ones at that. You know, for example, I'll show you one that I made in 8th grade. And again, don't be too hard on me, 8th grade. But this is Michael Jordan during the iconic time where he was sticking his tongue out for a dunk. This painting, you know, and have the original right up here, but gives you a great idea into how his artwork is and how well it was perceived in that period of time, as well as by the athletes that were the prime features of it, you know, especially with all the love he got from them. But he wouldn't just do work in the sports field. He would go overseas. He went to so many countries, I think 5 different continents, doing work in the political field, as well as doing many popular objects, you know, places, spaces. Most notably, Birds of Paradise, one of his most popular pieces. And unfortunately, LeRoy Neiman did pass away in 2012, but still his legacy does live on. There are so many art museums that you could go to that feature his work. And a lot of just regular contemporary places will have at least one LeRoy Neiman piece that you can kind of grip your eyes onto. He even has a place at UCLA dedicated to furthering young artists' knowledge of LeRoy. and learning abstract expressionism to the fullest. So who knows, there may be another LeRoy Neiman coming in the future. But honestly, it's taken more of a drift into fashion from the art world, where artists will collaborate with sports athletes in creating shoes, creating clothing, creating those sort of looks, that the artist is behind it by brand, but not so much their face in, say, a artistic sense, more so their inspiration. Like, for example, athlete releases a new shoe, they're called the LeBron 8s or whatever, right? And that's, the name behind it, so it has that weight, but then it's more so how the shoe looks, not so much featuring the artist in their glory, but you just live through them by their own brand, I guess. So it is different in that sense, but it's still great because the influence of sports within the art world is something I've always loved. And being a sports person, I always was a big fan of LeRoy Neiman and his work, you know, and always looking forward to making more pieces that he's done and trying more new things that inspire me through him. So that's really all I had for this Why I Love. Comment down below some artists you would like to see covered, or artists that you really like that you'd like other people to know more about. And definitely get into those as well if I like them enough. That's really what it comes down to. But that's everything for this episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video. And I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.